Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to 12-Minute Trading. My name is Doc Severson. I'm joined here by Dave Lukas of 12-Minute Trading. Today is Monday, the 15th of December. We're halfway through the month now, almost through the entire year. What a year it's been. It was as we, tariffed out in the first quarter, and then since then it's been a relatively one-way ride, with the exception of we've had quite a bit of consolidation over the past month or so. And that continues today. Markets are slightly down, again, getting very close to the all-time highs, just unable to break out. And I think what we talked about last week was, wouldn't it be better to see the price drop for a couple of days first, freak everybody out, set the hook, and then drive into the end of the year? We may still get that move. Dave, what are you seeing out there?
Yeah, it's even looking a lot like that may be the case with the action that we're seeing here. I mean, we are still in that same. We talked about it happening last week, and towards the end of last week, we're there. This daily chart's the highest been charged in a year. So it has not released yet. It has not broken, any direction yet. And so we've got a slew of data this week. Now it's past data, like we're getting like October, jobs and things like CPI, things like that are coming out this week. We do have new CPI coming out this week, but uh, I don't know if the old data is going to matter that much since the Fed's already cut and stuff like that.
Right.
But it's like almost kind of like let's get this beyond us and then go. And so it's just like biding its time, and it's like one of the hardest times as a investor or a trader is like the patience you need right now just to wait and let this market reveal its hand is really critical because no matter which side you go, we don't know which way it's going to go. Putting on something right now, you're stepping in front of a freight train, whichever way this thing decides to go. So it's like just let the trend reveal itself, and that could start tomorrow. It could be a couple days from now, but I think by the end of this week, we have a pretty good idea which trend way this is going to go, and it can go a couple ways. It can go violent, right? So it can like take out a lot of the energy release in the span of a day or two and just violently like S&P go up 150 points, or it can start grinding, right? We love to see it start grinding, but we just have to see. So we're just kind of in that waiting and holding pattern. All the energy in the charts are there to support a medium term move, 6, 8, 10 weeks. So we're just there. So we can show them on the charts when we get in there.
Yeah, everybody wants to know which way this is going to go. And what I normally I'm looking for, I always try to give myself the option to say, hey, look, it could go higher, it could go lower. But right
Mm-hmm.
now, we're not seeing anything in the charts to suggest that we're starting a larger corrective pattern, which would imply
No.
that the price would break lower. I
Yeah.
mean, a lot lower, and undercut the,
Mm-hmm.
was it the late October lows that we came?
Yeah, yeah, around 65 and change on the
Yeah.
S&P cash index.
Oh, okay. So no, I'm actually talking about the late November lows,
Yeah,
late November
yeah,
lows. So for us to, I'm not anticipating the price breaking the late November lows. To me, the correction has already taken place. It's just a matter of when the major trend kicks in again.
yep.
After that though, all bets are off as we get into the new year.
That's been my call, and I'll stick
Yeah.
by it. That I think this thing breaks higher. We get a just massive run into the end of the year, take out 7,000, get in the beginning of next year, and that weekly chart gets exhausted, and it's exhausted alongside a monthly chart, and then you get your correction for the year. Probably a 10, maybe even 15% correction off that. And then it sets itself, and that goes the rest of the year. So, in fact, it's a good time you can probably bring up the charts and we can take a look at them.
Yeah, and, the one thing I'm noticing here is that we talked last week and saying, hey, wouldn't it be good to see a pullback down to maybe 67.50 or thereabouts? That's a 38.2 retracement on the cash index. It's not even been able to pull back that far. So
Mm-mm.
that would be a good confluence with the 50-day moving average here. This would be a tremendous place to set the hook and get the market super negative and then rebound from there. But can't do it. with this amount of energy, this is what Dave was talking about. Like, this is unprecedented. I don't remember the last time I saw a
It's the
daily energy
highest
at
in over a
almost
year.
74. That's a lot. And then when you combine that with the weekly chart is also charged up. Again, the prices can go in either direction from this. It's almost like squeezing an orange pit really hard. It's going to come flying out in one direction or another. But right now, the trend is so strongly to the upside. It really does favor mean reversion back up
Mhm.
to the upside.
Yeah, and that's why like been I've just been setting aside cash and getting ready to see which way this thing decides to go because you're gonna get, 3 or 4 week window to really take advantage of it. And then it's probably gonna get itself exhausted.
Boy, look at this monster. I mean, silver, good goodness.
Hmm.
I mean, it's playing catch up now. Um, and then,
Yeah, I mean silver made it up into the 60s and it's pulled back a little bit. But I mean, look at that. I mean, it's just crazy parabolic run there.
yeah, and then here's gold doing an ascending triangle pattern again.
Hmm.
Once again. I mean, it's crazy. So these two are, the only thing I wish that we had a better answer for was Bitcoin. Bitcoin is just getting drubbed since the 10th of October. There's all kinds of FUD that's out there. And I'm going to bring up just let's see, I'm going to bring up just the spot chart here for a second. This is a bear flag. This is, in fact, today is breaking the flag
Hmm.
neckline to the downside. Now, what I'm anticipating seeing is, at the very least, a retest of this low from back here in November. We should at least get a retest, and how that resolves itself. If it does something like this, if it undercuts and then rebounds quickly with like a hammer candlestick like that, then we may see a break back to 100,000 on Bitcoin itself. So that would be good. On the other hand, if we see this thing just drop from here and then close below the lows and then do nothing, then this thing is toast. Bitcoin
Hmm.
itself is toast. This is the
Back
flag
to
playing
crypto,
out.
back to the next crypto winner.
Yep. And so it's going to be another 2 year round tripper until some of the FUD goes away, like the quantum issue, which is quantum computers would have enough horsepower to be able to crack. I don't know how it's possible to be able to crack every single node in the blockchain simultaneously like that, if that's what they're implying, but we'll see. So these are some
Yeah,
of the
and
major
interesting
markets.
enough today, quantum sector's getting beat up today too. So it's like going right along with it. So
Yeah,
it's
no
not,
kidding.
yeah.
So there we go. That's where the major market's at. Let us know if there's any questions that you have for those of you that are joining us live here today. Looking at the NASDAQ did not make a new high or did not threaten the previous highs. And so what I believe that this is doing is this is working into a
Hmm.
larger triangle pattern like this. Whereas what we're seeing is relative strength on the Dow and blue chips right now because the Dow
You're
did
seeing
make new
some,
highs.
you're seeing rotation into Dow
Hmm.
for sure.
Yeah.
And
So
and and the Russell too. The Russell's gotten is kind of led a little bit for the last 10 days or so.
we're
Down a
seeing
little bit
things like
today.
Amgen has been strong, Cisco, I mean Honeywell, Johnson and Johnson. Boring. Even and Nvidia has actually done well today, but it's some of the rest of tech like
Hmm.
Salesforce.com, Apple. All of these have been just targets for distribution right now. And then looking at the major Nasdaq, we're seeing pretty much split in terms of advancers and decliners. The problem is the advancers. Well, some of the decliners like the Apple, the Google twins are both down today.
Hmm.
Tesla's actually doing okay today.
Yeah,
Nvidia is
Tesla's
actually up.
Tesla's actually might be starting a little bit of a breakout on the
Yeah,
daily chart.
yeah, that's one hell of a pattern. We brought this up last week
Hmm.
that it's a big kind of a rounded base here, setting up some type of a on top of a smaller time frame cup with handle, which is breaking out. So this could be good times for Tesla going forward if they're able to get away from this whole AI narrative, and so far they have been.
Hmm. Yeah, so I played a little bit of TSL today, TSLL on Tesla because I think we're getting at least a short-term breakout on the daily chart. Looks like it's breaking out some.
Let's see who else is now. Some of the ones that we've been watching for lately are GE Vernova. This has made a breakout, although it's gotten soft, and so I was in a position, and in our trading room, I sold out of this thing right there. I was like, okay, this is a gift. I'm going to take this
That thing.
gift and say thank you very much, because it was into exhaustion.
Yeah.
And holding on to this is more of like, unless you've got a lot of time, you can always re-enter, especially on something like a diagonal. Some of the
Yeah,
other ones,
that thing went bonkers last week.
yeah, that was nice. Some of the other ones that we've been watching are like Zoom. We think Zoom is building out a really nice base. Roku is also building out a nice base, real strong today, actually, looking
Yeah.
good. And what was that? Open Door. Open Door is just kind of flat right now. It's building up. You can see kind of the cup with handle right now. It's in the handle pattern. So this is a good time to be selling puts on Open Door if you're into Open Door.
Hmm.
And there was a chart that you sent me the other day that was basing. I don't recall what that was.
Let me see. Take a quick look. It might have been, um, it might have been Tesla on the larger time frame because I was looking at that. Let me take a look at my Sense 2 doc here. Oh, it was uh energy. So we've had gold and copper and all that breakout. Now energy stocks look like they are, putting in a really nice rounded base and getting ready. If you look at the energy sector, like the XLE and stuff like that. That's one of the last ones they sent you.
Okay. Yeah, that's kind of a it's not what I would call a rounded base, but it's good enough. I mean, this is it's done the heavy lifting, and now it's consolidating here at the top. So what'll be interesting is whether energy is, though to some degree this is all driven by the AI narrative, like, oh, there's going to be
Hmm.
this massive spike in energy requirements, because of new technologies. And I think right now everybody's trying to figure out, they're kind of standing in a circle to see who blinks first on that narrative as to whether or not it's real, or is it made up? Is it going to have something? We went through the same thing back in the late
Hmm.
'90s and the internet. It's like, oh, is this internet thing gonna actually? Is it gonna happen? So AI
Yeah,
is kind of the same
the
thing
the
now.
the thing on the if you look at the middle chart there, it's kind of the weekly chart. You kind of just see it's just that big like flag, that's kind of set up on that thing.
Yeah, it's just a
So,
big horizontal box that's gone nowhere. So it's
hmm.
what this typically will do, and this is especially noticeable on this chart because that's more of a monthly pattern.
Yeah.
But it's like winding the spring up tighter and tighter and tighter until it,
Hmm.
has to come flying out of there in one direction or another.
So yeah, something to kind of keep on the radar. I mean, we know there's a lot happening in the energy space. I think, obviously that the demand is there. If you look at your energy bill recently, the
Yeah, no
demand is
kidding.
there and is continuing. So, another one to put on the radar. But, overall, like just go back to the SPX. I mean, and I told my students I did only a short video this weekend because honestly, the whole thing right now is just this daily chart and you got to tell us which way you're going to go. I mean, that's just, that's it. That's the signal right now. That's really all that matters over the next few days. Being that highly charged, like I said, you may see a violent move in either direction out of this thing.
Yeah,
That's the
so I
crux
looked
of it
at so
all.
tomorrow's jobs report is actually the one. It's delayed by a week or so.
Mm-hmm.
It would have normally come out on the 5th, and so it's coming out 11 days later. So it's the November jobs numbers. And kind of what we're looking for is something where it's like sort of soft, but not too soft. We're
Yep.
looking for a Goldilocks number that supports additional rate cuts. I think that's really it. And then, do you know when the Bank of Japan is coming out with their
Rate
numbers?
increase.
Yeah. So
Uh,
apparently that must be already priced in then.
yeah. Let's see. The next date, December 18th, 19th. So end of the week.
Yeah, and that's going to happen, of course, at some odd hour of the
Oh
evening
yeah.
when that comes out.
Yeah, at 3 a.m. is what it says.
Oh, really? Okay.
20, yeah, expectation is 25 basis point hike.
Yeah.
So,
Well, that's already priced in. I mean, a lot of that
yeah.
reaction was back here, so that's already priced in.
Yeah, that's not, I don't think that there's an issue with that. I think, I think the market's going to get just about everything it expects this week. So, and again, that may just be the all it needs to start trending. But it makes no sense to step in front of this freight train. Just give it the patience. I can't echo that enough to just show its hand and then take advantage of whichever direction it goes.
Yeah. So what Dave's talking about here? This is our calendar for the week. Here's tomorrow. We have a jobs report, housing starts, retail sales, which is delayed, which nobody cares about. This is the one that people care about, which is Wednesday. Retail sales, PMI composite flash, and then we've got John Williams speaking. We already went through one bout today. He speaks
Hmm.
again. He moved the market a month ago when he sort of foreshadowed the rate cut. We have more Fed speak here across the board, and let's see, and then we have CPI. CPI is coming out on Thursday, and then let's see what else is there. I think the jobless claims has been important, and then consumer sentiment on Friday. So
CPI.
this is we don't really have any big earnings this week, with the exception of FedEx, I think, on Thursday. But this is a week where we're trying to play catch up with all the
Yeah,
economic
we don't really
reports.
we don't really have any earnings or anything like that on the horizon that affects it. It's all this. It honestly, it's just the market looking for a reason to move, and it'll be whatever it chooses.
Yeah,
And it may seem like it's not a big thing or anything, and all of a sudden the market goes and it's whatever that is.
and if I had to guess, I would say any kind of uncertainty will drive us down here to about the 6750 area. And
Yep.
I think there should be enough demand down here. I think there should be enough demand that one step back, two steps forward from this. This could actually
Right.
shake it out of the range if something good happens. So all it's looking for is the slightest little bit of good news. We've had some crappy news here during this
Mhm.
period, and a little bit of good news along with some uh, correctly timed bad news that supports rate cuts will do this market wonders. But I don't see how we would do something like this. This would be a really odd pattern to see something like that show up, where we undercut the lows from November.
Mhm.
That would be, I mean, anything could happen, but
It
it's not
that would
what.
have to be something that would be your black swan, something out of left field that nobody expected, that is negative, that is structural in nature, and just freaks people out.
Right, right,
I mean,
yeah.
we went through actually we'd probably already be trending higher if it wasn't for like the Oracle earnings and stuff. That just kind of put a damper a little bit on the AI, right? We had gone through where it was that little damper in AI in November, and then we seemed to get over that and things were getting ready to go, and then Oracle came out, and then we got a little bit of that last week, and it's really just kept things going
Yeah,
sideways,
well, half of
coiling
this
this
has got
thing
to be
up.
nervousness from fund
Yeah.
managers that we're getting close to the end of the year. They're more than
Right.
likely behind the
Yep.
S&P already, and so they
Yep.
can't tolerate any loss whatsoever. So
Right.
here's a case where supposedly strong hand institutional investors are probably some of the weakest hands right now because
Yeah.
of where markets are. And
And
so
and
again,
always
everybody's leaning.
remember, it was they
Everybody's
always remember
Yep.
like the Santa Claus rally is not till the last 5 days of the month and the first two into the next year. So these guys will wait, you know, until they absolutely have to, and then drive it up in the span of a week in the end of the year there, and put their window dressing on their gains, and then once that you get into January, it becomes all bets off. So don't think like, oh, Santa Claus rally is supposed to start. Santa Claus rally is always the last 5 days of December and the first couple of January. So we've got time on that. This daily chart's not going to wait that long. So we'll see what happens there. But if we get the rally upward and that goes, that's just going to start it and kick it off, and then you're going to pile in. I think you're going to see that into the end of the year. So all we need is whatever the catalyst is, and it'll be whatever the market chooses. So we just need to again be patient, let it signal its hand, and then go with it. So that's the only thing for this week. So I wish
So
I had 10 more things to give, but that's the only thing that matters right now.
yeah, so we will be back next. Let me look at the calendar here. We're going to be back next Monday,
Yep.
and then as we get into January, we will not. I will not be here on the 29th, so I think we're going to take
Yeah.
a week off there.
We'll take the holiday off there that week because
Yeah.
we're both out and
And
traveling and doing stuff. But
so we'll be
uh
back by the 5th, and so it should be
mhm.
interesting to see. We should get a move by then. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
I think
I
we're
I will be very surprised if we don't see this daily chart breaking in a direction by the end of this week.
yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us here today. If you're watching this on a replay, let us know. If there's anything you want us to address for next week, we'd be happy to do that. So just send us a note at support@12minutetrading.com and we'll get that. And we'll tee that up for you next week. But otherwise, hold on.
Yeah.
As
Patience.
Samuel L.
Patience,
Jackson once
patience,
said,
patience.
yeah, hold on to your butts. We're about to get a move here. And we don't know what the catalyst will be for that. It will be something that the market is not anticipating right now to break it out of the range.
Oh,
All right.
cool.
Thanks, everybody.
We'll
You guys
we'll
have a
see
great
you we'll
Monday.
see you next week, guys.
All right. Bye now.
All right.